Hey, somebody's got to get Matt some chicken noodle soup. You did? Excellent. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. You're listening to the Professional Noticer. Here, you and I will use common sense and all the wisdom we can muster to move beyond what is true and go all the way to the truth. With listeners now in 98 countries around the world, welcome this week, Jamaica. Hey, Jamaica, man. I am the Professional Noticer.
When I say whoa, I mean whoa.
Hello, everyone. I'm Andy Andrews. Hey, thank you for making me a part of your week. As the Professional Noticer, it's my job to professionally notice something for you, and nothing's off limits. So, what question do you have this week? Is it business, spiritual issues, popular culture? Hey, we even tackled the odd conundrum like on a computer keyboard, why isn't the key caps lock capitalized? My purpose here today and with every show we do is to play the part of a best friend or a coach. I want to help you live the life you would live if all your toughest questions were answered. The Professional Noticer is sponsored this week by my buddies at Tucker ATV. So it's a small-town business with a national reputation. Tucker ATV carries every make and model of Polaris ATVs, all the big Polaris side-by-sides, the Ranger Cruise, and, they've got just an unbelievable... They've got everything for a selection. Everything, every color, every camo. It's just astounding to see. And they have all the Hustler mower stuff, the Echo power tools. This is a great place. But, I always get back to, if you're going to Tucker ATV, the number one reason to go is Shannon and Lisa, the Tuckers. Because the hospitality, the service is beyond anything you'll get anywhere else. And of course, you walk into the showroom and you'll see there is just a difference. They have created a place that it's a destination. Jackson, Alabama is not on an interstate. Okay, I mean, you're going to have to go to it, but they've got business. People do business with them from multiple states. I drive by 7 Polaris dealerships to get to them. Now, this is how I met them in the first place. And these guys are just awesome. The showroom, it has all kind of taxidermy. It has antiques. It's just awesome. And their porch, their inside porch with the porch swing and the free coffee, you just got to see it. But see them in person. Shake hands with Shannon. Hug Lisa. Check them out on Facebook and see what Lisa's writing. She's a great writer. Writes very funny, cool stuff on that Tucker ATV Facebook page. It's Tucker ATV, Highway 43 North in Jackson, the small town business with the national reputation. Observations and answers is what we do here. I deliver the observations. I make a shot at the answers, but you provide the questions. Okay, always remember the quality of your answers. The answers that we get in our lives, the quality of them can only be determined by the quality of the questions. So here at the Professional Noticer, we would love to field a question from you. Write me. The email is theprofessionalnoticer@andyandrews.com. And listen, if we use your question, the Professional Noticer will send you your choice of the Guided Traveler Experience, or you could choose the 100-Year Parenting, a collection of 53 videos, each between 10 and 20 minutes. And really, it links to more. It has more to do with life than just parenting, because I think parenting is like the ultimate form of leadership. So it's really kind of 100-year parenting is great leadership stuff. Hey, you liking this on YouTube? Really quickly, reach down there and press that red subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe to my channel here, because it's not just the Professional Noticer that you will be missing if you don't. We've got some surprises coming that you do not want to be without. click that subscribe button. Thanks. Hey, this week, our first question is from Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer.
Hi, Andy. First, let me say thank you so much for sharing your heart with all of us. I love all of your books and your podcasts. So here's my question. How can I motivate my husband to teach our 15-year-old son to work? My husband is the hardest working man I know, and I want my son to be a wonderful husband and father one day. My husband is an outstanding husband and father, and just one of those people that never slows down. I don't think he intentionally wants his son to be lazy. He just thinks it's easier and quicker to just do things himself. He used to always say our son wasn't old enough, but he's 15 now. I can and have taught my son how to work inside the house with some cooking and cleaning and laundry, etc. But a boy needs to work alongside his father to do things outside of the home as well. I often come home from work and my husband will be working in the yard while my son will be up in his room on his phone or watching TV. I have mentioned this to my husband numerous times, and he always says he will teach him, but he never seems to get around to it. What more can I do to help my husband understand how crucially important this is to the way our son will parent his own children and the way that he will behave in society in general? Please let me know your thoughts on this. I thank you in advance for your answer.
Jennifer, hey, oh, wow, I totally get your question here. I totally understand where you're coming from, and I totally understand your husband's choices so far. I believe like you believe, and you know what, your husband does too. He's very aware of this, and I know that you are gonna. You say you've talked to him over and over again, but you're gonna have to talk to him again, because sometimes we just don't hear what we need to hear that really creates the change that we're after. Now, remember, this is a I guess a behavior that you're wanting to change, and I think your husband is probably wanting to change that behavior too. Just gets caught up in the doing of things and knows what has to be done, and he just kind of gets past it sometimes. And I'll tell you a story about that in just a minute. But remember, change requires what's in it for me and proof beyond a reasonable doubt. What's in it for me and proof beyond a reasonable doubt. So somehow, the way that you talk with your husband, the story that you tell your husband, the situation that you lay out for your husband is going to have to rock in those two areas. It's going to have to create a what's in it for him. And as a dad, that's not going to be hard to do. And proof beyond a reasonable doubt, that's something I think you can create too. But those two things are going to have to be there for this change in behavior to be in the top of your husband's mind. Again, while I think this is hugely important, I don't think you have a huge task ahead of you. I just think you just haven't hit on the right combination of words to activate the feelings that your husband's going to have to activate to change that behavior. I know in my case, I've had some things that I kind of know, you kind of know you need to change, but then you just don't. And, sometimes it's even behaviors toward other people or with other people, and nothing huge. I mean, he's not, fighting with your son, or it's just, and see, I told you I was going to tell you a story. To me, I almost laughed. I know the situation is very serious, but I almost laughed. I almost wanted to go and get Polly and say, hey, you did such a good job a couple of weeks ago talking about how we met. Now, I would like you to come down here and explain to this lady and her husband why you can't cook biscuits. That's what I wanted to do, because it's exactly the same thing. exactly the same. Polly's mother, Patsy, was just this unbelievable cook. I mean, it was unbelievable. Okay. And grandmother, Patsy's mom was an unbelievable cook. Polly, when we got married, not so much. Okay. I don't know if I've ever told you this. Have I ever told the story about the first meal Polly cooked, Matt? Have I ever? Well, when Polly and I were dating, the first time she ever cooked for me was a date. We'd been dating a while, and so she invited me over. She had a house that she and a roommate had rented, and so she and Sonny lived in this house, and Sonny is still her best friend, and so Polly was going to cook for me. So Sonny went somewhere, she went with some of the other ladies or something. Polly's going to cook. So I go over there. Man, it's candlelight on the table. It's a linen table. It's just gorgeous. And we have Cornish hen, wild rice, and an artichoke. It was just, it looked beautiful. It tasted great. It was awesome. And of course, I'm dating her. We're not even engaged. And so I'm telling her how great and wonderful. And now the next time she cooked for me, we're married. Right? I traveled a lot. Polly traveled until we got married. She worked for a college. She was a recruiter for a college, an academic recruiter. And so we traveled. We ate out a lot. So the next time she cooked for me, we were married. And when she cooked our dinner that night, it was Cornish hen, wild rice, and artichoke. And I remember, it was awesome. But I kind of remember thinking, wow, this is what she cooked, when we ate at the house when we were dating. But it was great. I didn't say anything. Now, a week or so later, she cooked for me again. And that night we had Cornish hen, wild rice, and an artichoke. And it was great. But I did say that night after, wow, this was so good. This is so good. Hey, next time, why don't we have, I mentioned something, I don't know what it is, but why don't we have something else? Probably, it's the only thing I can cook. It was, if it hadn't been so pathetic, it would have been just hilarious. And of course, it has been hilarious for this month. It'll be 32 years. I've been telling that story for 32 years. But the real reason that grandmother could really cook and Patsy, Polly's mom, could really cook and Polly could really not is because Patsy just never taught her. Polly would come in the kitchen and Patsy made everything from scratch, and she made these biscuits that were just unbelievable. And trust me, I ate at their house enough to know these biscuits, this fried chicken, it was unbelievable. And she had the flour down in this bowl, and she'd kind of make this hole in the middle of the flour, and she'd pour in some other kind of powders and some other kind of stuff, and then put something else in there, and then she'd put some buttermilk in the middle of this and kind of do it around just a little bit. And, the edges of the bowl, there's like an inch thick of powder. This is the dough for me. And she'd make these biscuits. They were unbelievable. We have frozen biscuits here at our house. It's what we have today. And every now and then it does come up again that Polly doesn't know how to cook grandma's biscuits. The boys bring it up, because she's not going to fly through the air and attack them for saying it like she does somebody else. But, this is it's kind of a funny story, but this is the track that your 15-year-old is on. Right now it looks like he's not going to be able to make biscuits when he grows up. I'm kind of teasing, but you know how serious this is. And especially the boy with his dad. Here is something that I would talk to your husband about. You know, your son at 15 is almost to the age that he will kind of be free. You know, I mean, 16, 17, he's just gonna be out and away. And one of the things, you know, I'm not a real handy person. I can't fix things, and I don't know a lot about, I mean, two things I know about electricity is that you can't see it and it can kill you. But other than that, I can't do stuff like that. But as the boys would get, you know, had businesses, you know, Austin with his trees and Adam with his acorns for a few years, I would go work with them. And people say, well, it's like helping them with their business. Well, not really. I'm, because you know, there's other ways I could help Austin with his business other than standing outside in the heat and digging a hole, for a tree. But I spent hours doing that, and I spent hours with Adam, picking up acorns and harvesting acorns and bagging them and counting them and weighing them and all like that, because it was a way that I could be with them. You know, when you're digging a hole, or when you're pruning a tree, or when you're picking up 400 pounds of acorns in an afternoon, it's not a ton of brain work, okay? I mean, you don't have to say, hey, let's be quiet and think about what we're doing here. You don't. And so they're either going to be listening to the radio or something, or they're going to be talking to Dad. And so even just to fill the noise, that was a time that conversations got going. And we would talk for hours. Now, we would go home and maybe the TV would come on, or we'd go home and people go to their rooms and do their homework, whatever. But when we were out, we would talk. And so your husband, there are stories that your husband will want to talk to your son about. There's stories your husband will want to tell about his family. There are things that your son just needs to feel comfortable talking with his dad about. And if you wait until he has to have it, it's going to be too late. He's going to talk to somebody else. But if he already feels comfortable talking with his dad because they, you know, sawed wood together. Now I understand why Polly's mom never taught her to cook. Because Polly's not like a natural. Now, she is awesome in the kitchen now, and she has, I say she's not a natural. She has become one of these kind of people that kind of throws stuff together, and it's just great every time she does it. But back in the day, she was not really a natural at it, like Patsy was, and Patsy had to cook dinner, and you know, Polly going in there, it slowed her down, and so she just said, "I'll do it," and she never said, "Come here, stand here, let me show you how to do this," and you know. And the family always got Patsy's great biscuits and never had to endure any messes, I guess, before Polly got great at it. And so, you know, it is going to slow your husband down a little bit, but that is a small price to pay on stuff like building stuff and yard work and that kind of stuff. It's a small price to pay to have that relationship and those memories with your son. Okay. Hey, thank you for the question. And this will work out great, Jennifer. Okay. Thanks. I'm Andy Andrews, the professional noticer, harnessing common sense and wisdom to plow through challenges all the way to an answer for you. Hey, here's the thought. I know you can use Google to buy the fastest electric sander or to find the answer to how do I unsand my now ruined dining room table? There's a difference in knowledge and wisdom, though, right? Knowledge will help you find the tools needed to complete a job, but wisdom will caution you before making a big mistake. Pure knowledge, without the wisdom to apply that knowledge in the proper way, is not only useless, it can be dangerous. So allow me to suggest wisdomharbor.com. You know how to spell it. It's wisdom, Harbor. Have you been there yet? Come on, go there now. Be welcome by a friend of yours. I know this guy personally. It's me. And I'll get you a free 5-minute guided tour. And then you want to become a member of Wisdom Harbor. There's so many things that are being added to Wisdom Harbor right now, and it's only $17 a month. You guys, this is something you want to do for your family, for your business, and your schools, okay? Wisdomharbor.com. Our next question is from Jamie. Hey, Jamie.
Andy, I've seen you perform a few times now, and while you make it absolutely fun to watch you speak, really is clear that you struggle with distractions. In Bottom of the Pool, you talk about how important it is to have a location of contemplation. Some would call this quiet time or meditation. How do you do this when you struggle so much with distractions? Can you give others like me who also struggle with distractions any tips and advice on how to really absorb this opportunity?
Jamie, thank you for the question. And, well, you have seen me speak several times now, haven't you? If you know, I mean, now I wonder if I was specifically distracted any time that you were watching. I have had those moments of specific distraction, but I also, a lot of times I try to set it up where I won't be distracted, and I wonder sometimes if people know what I'm doing, because a lot of times if I'm doing a convention and I go out on stage and the doors are open in the back, a lot of times I will say, hey, before we get started here, do me a favor. Close those doors in the back. Let's just close those doors right now. Come on, close those doors. I'm always nervous somebody's going to get out and run out of here. So close those doors. But really, the reason I want the doors closed is because people peek their heads in. They come in and go out, and they'll stop from the hallway and look in and see what's going on. And man, that's what I see. And I need to be looking at the audience and concentrating and not, looking out in the back and, seeing some clown go by or something. I mean that in a specific sense, because, you never know. If you're in a hotel or in a convention center, there could be a clown walk by or a pony. So those kind of things distract me. And Jamie, I understand your question, because you said, you're also a person that struggles with those distractions. And I think that, in the book, I talk about a location of contemplation, and I explain how necessary that is, just to think, to have a place to be quiet. And I do believe that, your first choice is to find a place that is physically quiet. But I also know that sometimes that is not possible. And so what I have done, Jamie, is I've really trained myself to be able to close my eyes and take a breath. And, and honestly, I'm not good enough at it to do it with my eyes open. Okay, so I can't drive and do it, and I can't just sit somewhere and while everybody's having conversations and do it. But on an airplane, I can. If I'm waiting for something to happen, or I'm backstage somewhere, or in an office, or in my office. Because Matt, did you hear above? I mean, you just heard that. I mean, I don't know. Did who just bounced across our bedroom, but that's right across. I mean, that's right above me. And somebody, I don't know if you guys heard that, somebody bounced, but that that kind of thing. Right now, that distracts me, right? We're working. But if I was down here, even writing, I get into that zone. I can close my eyes for a while, and I say a while, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and then open them into the writing, and that stuff doesn't really bother me. But I really believe, Jamie, that if there's, I think it is a purposeful thing. It's not. I don't think it's anything that comes naturally for anybody. I mean, Matt, you aren't as distractible as I am, or do you? But you find that to concentrate, you have to really kind of be. I mean, you go into your location of contemplation, and so I think it's something, Jamie, that is just a purposeful. It's an intentional thing, and I think that it's nothing that you're great at right at first. I think it's something you have to kind of decide that, and this is what you're going to do. I think also, I pray when I kind of begin mine, and so I think that connection helps me to calm. It helps me to focus, and so if you pray, I would suggest doing that, and to have some specific thing that you start your prayer with. I mean, you're walking into a room with God, right? I mean, if you have something you say every time you walk into the room to meet somebody else, and I also think that if you talk to God, that you should avail yourself of that opportunity often, because I think that those moments keep me sane. The old there is I don't know if it's a poem or if it's a story, but I remember it, and I'm sure you do too, about somebody walking on the beach, and there were two sets of footprints, and then occasionally there would be one set of footprints, and then two sets of footprints, and then the person asked God, he said, "I thought that you were supposed to be with me at all times, but I see that there were times that you left me because I don't see your footprints." And God said, "No, you're mistaken. The times that there are one set of footprints, that was the times that I carried you." And I've been thinking a lot lately, Jamie, about faith, because I've been writing and working with Jones and writing, and I've been thinking about faith and how to explain it. And faith is a belief in something that can't be proven. I mean, can't be physically proven. I mean, if it could be physically proven, you wouldn't have to have faith, I guess. And so faith is that belief in something that is unseen. And so a belief is a process of thinking, and the specific kind of thinking that you do, if you're going to believe something that you don't see or can't prove, is using your imagination. And to use your imagination to create your location of contemplation, I think that is a viable thing to do. As I think about it, that's what I do. I'll imagine myself in a place, or I will imagine myself, surrounded by silence, or by certain sounds that block out other sounds, and your belief is so strong that your belief becomes reality, right? I mean, the reward of faith is to one day see what you've never seen. That's the reward of faith. And so preparing for that, or preparing that faith, or getting stronger in that faith is a thought process. And it's something, it's a muscle that you can exercise. And I recommend it. Okay, thanks so much, Jamie. I appreciate the question and appreciate you helping me to think through this. Okay, I am the professional noticer. Ladies and gentlemen, if you appreciate the podcast, I'd appreciate you going to iTunes and giving us a nice review. You know, of course, you can only review a particular podcast on iTunes one time, right? And so if you haven't already, please make today your day. Please go there and review it. And I think that'll do it for this week. Get us out of here, Matthew. So, ladies and gentlemen, and to the boys and girls who aspire to become ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of another episode of The Professional Noticer. In a world where common sense has become a superpower, I'm harnessing that tiny bit of mental energy I have for you, seeking wisdom, making observations, and endeavoring to answer tough questions in a way that will empower your family and your business. I'm Andy Andrews. Until next week, smile while you talk. Shake hands with the kids you meet. And make sure you have an answer to the question, who's someone you could call right now and tell them how much you appreciate them? Come on, it's November. It'll only take 5 minutes. It'll make their day. It'll make their Thanksgiving. Get it done early. And so, until next week, goodbye. This episode of The Professional Noticer was produced by Matt Lambert. The Noticer theme written and performed by Sugarcane Jane. Beef bouillon provided by Twinkle and Smoke of Beverly Hills. Additional financial consideration provided by the Not Just Joshua Tree Foundation. The Joshua Tree, also called the Desert Dagger, was first described by George Engelmann in 1871. The tree's commonly used first name, Joshua, is said to have derived from the story of Joshua extending his arms out to guide the Israelites through Canaan. And while that's all a fine and dandy heck of a story, the Not Just Joshua Tree Foundation is here to tell you that you deserve a tree or shrub named after you. We've gone through thousands of names and paired them with an appropriate plant. It's not a sugar maple anymore, it's a Sandra maple. It's not a black oak, it's a Tommy oak. And it's not a mountain laurel, it's a Laura laurel. Head on over to our complete database and see if we've found the plant for you yet. Are you a Larry? Look under Lily. Is your name Wanda? Check out Willow or Walnut or Wisteria. Come on, Wanda Walnut, do it now. We're taking new submissions daily, and it's first come, first serve for how names are distributed. We just require you to fill out our questionnaire and enclose your submission fee of $24.95. You'll be asked things like, what's your favorite candy bar? Where is your favorite climate? And who actually was on first? That's the Not Just Joshua Tree Foundation, giving people a plant to cling to.